I contacted a couple of my friends in California and I said, guess what happened? Do you want this? And they're all sure. So I gave them the activation and I noticed the golden seals didn't go with it. And I started noticing that, but I could see the energy and stuff. I didn't know what I was doing. I called it the Lord Metatron because it came from Lord Metatron. And then I went back to this gentleman's house and it was time for me to go home, but I knew I wasn't supposed to leave. And I knew I couldn't stay there with him. So I contacted this guy I knew in London. He had interviewed me. That's how I met the client in Scotland. And so he invited me to stay at his house with him and his girlfriend. He says, we just moved into a flat in London. Come here. And I did some trades with him and stuff on some classes I was teaching. And when I was staying with him, I went to Avebury and Stonehenge on a tourist bus. And when I sat there, I got another activation, which I call it the Avebury Stonehenge activation. And that energy started coming in. It freaked me out. It scared me because it was coming in so powerful. In my mind, I'm screaming, stop, what are you doing? Stop this, and then Lord Metatron came to me and kissed me on the forehead. He said, don't worry about it, Tamara, let it continue. So a week later, I'm on a flight over to Spain with this guy I hadn't seen in 2 years. And it was crazy. And I ended up being able to stay on that mountaintop. We were there for about 6 weeks. And then they invited me to come back to stay in their place in England. I rented a room from them. And every time I needed money, because I told you I only had $200. And every time I needed money, I'd have a client book a session. So that paid for my flights, it paid for my food, it paid for my rent. And it wasn't like I had a lot of money in the bank, but anytime I needed money, it showed up. It was really wild. And it was what a blessing. Anyways, I ended up staying for 8 months in Europe. I spent another 2 months with them in England, and they took me to Avebury, and that is my favorite sacred site in England. Avebury is just absolutely incredible. And then they took me to Glastonbury and I fell in love with Glastonbury. And Glastonbury is the heart chakra of the world. So from their house, I went to Glastonbury for a couple months. And then from there, I went to the coast in Italy, not speaking the language, staying in this little tiny town. I was all by myself. And that's when I had so many different masters coming in and giving me activations. And I was able to see them and hear them and feel them. And I was receiving so many activations at that time.